Okay, we are going to talk about bringing Microsoft Teams to the next level. Thank you, of course, to the sponsor to make this conference possible. In this case, Teams and the tech community. Okay, a few words about myself. I am very well introduced by my presenter. I am an independent technical architect. I am a blogger and speaker. In May, I started to work on my YouTube channel. You can see here the link. I hope that you can check it out and check how many videos I have. There are a lot of videos, and I hope that you subscribe to my channel. There is also my blog where I post more technical articles. And then there's also my GitHub account where there are a lot of solutions that are very helpful, I hope, for developers. And I think I have 50 solutions there. I hope that you can enjoy. And I am also the author of this nice bot that you see here, MyLeo bot. It's available in the Microsoft Teams store, totally free. And it's nice if you can provide some feedback. Just connect with me in Twitter or follow me there, and you can send me a direct message or whatever. I am totally open to collect feedback. And what do you think about it? Okay, I am an Italian guy. I was born in Rome, and then I moved since 5 years now in Germany. Okay, let's kick off the agenda. We will start to talk about Microsoft Teams, then how you can extend Microsoft Teams, and finally I have a lot of demo. I reduced the slide because I think it's good to see things and not only present concept in the slide. And finally we will wrap up this session. Okay, let's start with Microsoft Teams. So I think it's very well known, this new tool. This is the tool that has collected the grow fast in the last months or in the last year. It's the tool most used in Microsoft, and so you can, of course, you can do everything there. The idea behind Microsoft Teams is to have one tool for everything, for collaboration, to communicate with people, to customize and extend Teams considering your business requirement, your business needs. And finally, you have also an important topic, which is the security. I can mention, for example, the sensitivity label or retention label, or compliance. There are a lot of policy that you can apply to secure your content in not only in Microsoft Teams, but in Microsoft 365. Okay, Teams, it's cross-platform. It's basically everywhere in the Teams desktop application, on the mobile, in browser, in the smartphone, in the Mac OS, and works with every browser. Okay, let's now jump on an important topic, the core topic, how we can extend Teams. So these are all components that help us to extend Microsoft Teams. So we have tabs and personal app. This is a very great addition. Personal app are my favorite component that you can use to extend Teams. Then there are adaptive cards. We will see later one by one more in detail. Then for a conversation, we have bots and messaging extensions. For inform and notify, we have activity feed that engage user via feed notification on the left navigation menu of Teams. Then we have connectors that help us to get notified across webhook in a specific channel when something change. And finally, recently, Microsoft has also added the ability to extend the calling and meetings experience. Then we have the apps. So you can develop application. This could be a tab app, could be a personal app, or more in general, custom web application. And you can easily integrate this app as a tab or as a personal app in Microsoft Teams. And finally, we have a door that open in front of the entire Microsoft 365 surface, and this is Microsoft Graph API. This is absolutely the great way to surface the entire tenant, the entire Office 365 tenant, and you can read, write, update things on Office 365. You can read file. You can see how many tasks you have. You can do a lot of things. We will see later in detail this aspect. Okay, now let's jump one by one. How every component, how I can use it in order to extend Microsoft Teams. So here we have the tab and personal app, and this is a great way to have a full screen web experience of your app integrated in and embedded in Microsoft Teams. So you can have, in the first case, an app as a tab. So that means that every member of the team can see this application as a tab in one of the channel. Or maybe you need a personal app that has to surface the entire organization. In this case, personal app it's perfect. So I can imagine if you have an important application that that has to reach every employee in your organization, this is the case of a personal app, and a personal app is hosted in the left navigation panel of Microsoft Teams. We will see this one in a demo. Jumping to the next, we have a bot. A bot, it's fantastic because you can basically automate stuff. So you can collect immediately information that you need, and then you can automate stuff. You can, by giving a response to a bot, the bot can does the job for you. Now it's important to know that bot can extend many scenarios. So you can collect information from several platforms. If I think maybe this is one of the pain point for every company, works just with one single platform. This is very difficult to have as a scenario, because normally in every company there are several systems or platform. You can have Microsoft 365, then you can have SAP, and it's or other platform. It's very difficult to follow everything. Also, in my recent project, I have seen many information located in several platforms. Some information in SharePoint, other in SAP, and other information important for the employee was stored in a third-party platform, and the user has to work with 3 different platforms, open one and then switch to the second to find the information. A bot could be a very great way to aggregate information. So I'm talking about, for example, which are my benefits as employee in this company, and the bot can immediately provide several articles coming from several platforms, so the user is not lost. Then we have the messaging extension. This is another interesting way to extend the conversation in Microsoft Teams, so you can bring your other information for other platform. So for example, if you have Jira, you want to copy the content in Jira, and or you want to mention a backlog in Jira, and this messaging extension immediately across the API, for example, collect the information about this backlog, and you have the title and the description of this backlog, so the people can immediately figure out what you are talking about, and then you can post this information in the conversation. So then we have the webhooks and connectors. This is a very good way to get information from other technologies that as outside of Microsoft Teams. So for example, you can collect, just to make a stupid sample, you can get a tweet from a specific user. So you can get every tweet, and this tweet it's posted directly in the channel of a team. But you can do a lot of other things. If I think about in the developers context, you can collect webhook from GitHub, for example, if you add some information or a repository, of if you create a pull request, this is immediately sent as notification to this connector, and the connector save this information as in the team as a post in the conversation. So it's very, very great and powerful. So then, as I mentioned it before, we have the Microsoft Graph API. With Microsoft Graph API, you can do everything in Microsoft 365. You can work with the Active Directory, you can work with the Microsoft 365 groups, you can work with Teams as well, and many, many other things. So if you think to create your application, your custom application, or your SharePoint Framework solution, or maybe your Power Automate solution, you can use the Microsoft Graph API to collect the information that you need for your business case. Then we have the adaptive cards. This is another interesting and powerful component that you can use to extend Teams, and this give you the ability to just to write a JSON file, and this JSON file is rendered with the native UI of the system or tool where you are. So for example, if I am in Outlook and I get an email, and in the email, in the body, there is an adaptive card, this adaptive card render with the native UI of Outlook. Or if you are in Teams, you will have the JSON rendered with the native UI of Teams. We will see later this use case, and you can design the adaptive card as you prefer. You can write text, you can bring image, video, you can add buttons, like in this case that you see, there is there are two buttons. We have buy and add to cart, so you can do very interesting things. So you can cover a lot of scenarios. So if you need to approve something, for example, you can send an adaptive card to Teams, or you can send an adaptive card to Outlook, and the user directly in this tool can perform the workflow step and go forward with the process without opening a third-party tool or application. Okay, now let's talk about Microsoft Graph, what you can do with this powerful API. So Microsoft Graph, it's a big container of APIs, and you can basically perform CRUD operation, create, read, update, and delete of conversation in a channels, for example, or you can collect files from OneDrive or SharePoint. Then you can collect the devices. You can check how many devices are classified in your organization. You can work with tasks, for example. You can collect the last 10 email that you received, just to make an example. Then you can work with events, with security and groups. Microsoft 365 groups are everywhere. So then this is definitely a great way to consume this API to get information around groups. And everything is around of you. So you can work with the Graph API with the user context. So this means that you can work with the delegated permission, are called. So you can prompt the login to the user before to start to consume the API in order to act and consume the API. So if I consume the API, after that I perform the login, I will get everything related with me. So I will collect my files, I will collect my tasks, I will get my conversation, and so on. But you can build also daemon application. So if you need to elevate privileges because you need to do something that the user cannot do, you have to implement the app-only permission. And so in this way, you can act with elevated privileges and you can perform operation that the user cannot do. So now we have the Microsoft 365 platform, we have documentations, we have conversation, we have portals, timeline, and you can extend with Microsoft Graph API, Web Apps Bot, daemon tool. You can surface the entire Microsoft 365 tenant, and as I said, you can collect everything that is in your tenant. So this is your best friend if you want to start to extend Teams, if you want to start to develop application that you want to embed in Microsoft Teams. You have to use the Teams App Studio because this is a fantastic tool developed by Microsoft that helps you to create your manifest that you have to upload on the Teams Admin Center. We will see later. And then you can also use it to build an adaptive card. For example, there is a fancy UI that you can use to build easily an adaptive card. Then there are also the control library that helps you to reuse the native UI of Microsoft Teams. So if you are building, for example, a custom web application and you want to use the same button that is available in Microsoft Teams. So we can see this one, for example, in the image generate button. So this is the typical Microsoft Teams button. So you can implement the same UI in another custom application with the tab control library. And it is very helpful if you want to publish your app in the Teams store. So you can build the manifest and then you can validate the manifest if it's ready to go to be reviewed in before to publish it, to publish your application in the Microsoft Teams store. So going now on the topic of apps in Teams, as I mentioned it before, you can build two kinds of apps. These are the personal apps and the Teams tab. So this before to choose pick one, you have to analyze the scope. So if you want to target only a team, or if you want to target the entire organization, in this second case, then it would be more suitable a personal app, which is available for everybody on the left navigation pane of Microsoft Teams. Okay, I would say that it's time to demo something. Let's see now the Teams App Studio, how it looks like, and then I'll deploy a no-code personal app in Microsoft Teams. Okay, I have here the App Studio already pinned in the left navigation pane. If I click on it, I have the ability to chat with a bot here, so I can ask something. Then I have this is very important, I have the manifest editor. I have already 3 manifests here, we will see later. So these are exactly the manifest of my solutions that I'll show you in this demo. Then you have the validation pivot that helps you to validate your manifest and if looks good to be submitted for the Teams store. Then you have the card editor where you can easily create, as you can see here, adaptive card. So you have, and then you can have here a preview of the adaptive card. So this is the control library that helps you to integrate the Teams UI. So you have several components. You have the drop down, you have the buttons, toggles, input, text area. And then if you click on show code editor, you have an example here. This is our React example. Okay, going back now on the manifest, I will open now this one, intranet, because this is the solution that I'll show you in a bit. So what I have done here, basically, I embedded a SharePoint Online site as a personal app in Microsoft Teams. So it's available here, as you can see. So imagine that you have an important SharePoint Online site where you have to provide news for the employees, talking about COVID, for example, and so the user has to easily click directly in Teams and open this important SharePoint site where he or she can read this kind of information or warning. So this is the manifest of this personal app. So when you start to create a manifest, you have to provide information. So you have to write, you have to fill out some info here in these text fields. So first of all, you have to provide a short name of your application, and this will appear here. So then take care of the name that you select. Then you have the full name. Finally, you have the identification. So if you start to create a completely new application, you can click on the button generate, and the App Studio will generate the GUID for you. But if you deal with SharePoint Framework solution, you have to use the web part ID of the SharePoint Framework solution, and you have to pass this GUID here. Then you have to choose a package name, a good name structure is com. The name of your company, for example, and then the name of the application. So then you can select the version. So then you can select a short description of this application and a full description. Finally, we have the developer information. You have to provide the name of the developer, of the company name, the website. We will see later where I can open this link. Then we have the app URLs. So this is very important if the user want to go deeper about your application, and maybe he want to know more info about the privacy of this, how the privacy is touched from your application, the terms of use. And then we have the branding section. Here you can upload your icon and then the transparent icon. So just text with the transparent background, or this could be an icon instead of a text. So then let's go through the capabilities. According what what you want to build. So if you want to create a tab, so then you have to go and open this section tabs, because you have to add more information here. In my case, I want to have a personal tab in a Microsoft Teams. So then I clicked on the button tab and I created this entry. So if I open it, I have to define the name of this personal tab, then the entity ID, this could be a random number, and then the content URL. So this is very important. This personal app will open this SharePoint site. So you have to provide the name of your tenant here, and you have to reuse exactly this URL. So then you have to put here in query string SPFX equal true, and then the destination, this is very important. Here you have to write which page you want to open as a welcome page. But you can find all this information in the official Microsoft document. Okay, so, and that's it for the capabilities for my demo, but you can add more capabilities to your application. If you want to create a bot, you can go in this section and set up. Click on the setup button to start to provide more information in order to have a bot implemented in Microsoft Teams. Or if you want to publish your bot in the Microsoft Teams store. So then again, we have the connectors and the messaging extensions. But for this demo, we will go through only this section. So finally, there are other information like languages that you can provide. So my application will be provided in English. And here we have another important settings to do. So you have to write here the domain from your tabs where this application is stored. Then the app ID. In this case, you have to use exactly this app ID, which is the ID for SharePoint Framework solution. Then you have to add the resource-specific consent if you use the Graph API, for example, to collect information about file or groups. So if you add this resource, the user will have a prompt where he has to provide his consent to use the application. And then the single sign-on, this is very important. If you don't provide this, you will see the application working on the web version, but not in the Teams desktop. You will see a gray screen when you try to open the application. This is very important because tell to Microsoft Teams that there is a single sign-on included for your personal hub. Okay, these are all information that are important for this application. And this is the manifest. So it's a JSON file. When you fill it out every content, every page of this tutorial to create the manifest, in the end you have a JSON file with this information. And then when you are ready, you can download this manifest. And I have here this manifest, jumping now on the solution, intranet. I have the icon that I uploaded, the outline icon, and then I have exactly this manifest. And when you are ready, you can upload this manifest in the Teams Admin Center. Let me open it. In this way, we can see what I am talking about. So in Teams app, you can explode this menu item, and in Manage app here you can upload this manifest. You have to create a zip of these 3 files, and you have to be aware that you create a zip with this first level of files. If you have subfolder and you add these files in the subfolder, you will have problems. So you have to create a zip with just these 3 files contained in the zip. Once you have uploaded this hub, this will be available in Microsoft Teams, and you have another interesting functionality here in setup policy. In the global policy, you can add this application also in the pinned app. Intranet. So, and this means that this application will be available also in the Teams mobile app. Okay, now going back on Teams, if I open now this application, clicking on News, I will have the SharePoint site opened inside Microsoft Teams. So this is a communication site, and this is great because I don't write any line of code here. This is as is a solution ready to go. You can also embed, for example, here SharePoint Framework custom web part, and so this is another way to display this little customization in the page directly in Microsoft Teams. So this is very great. In the About tab, you have the 3 URL that are in the manifest, so the user can easily click on the terms of use, for example, or the privacy policy, or maybe the website of this application, which explain better what the application does. Okay, let's move now on another demo. We have several demo here. So this is the demo about the adaptive card. So what I have done here, I created, let me open this browser, and I am here on my Microsoft 365 tenant. What I have done here, I created Power Automate workflow, which comes out of the box. It's very easy to create, so you can open the SharePoint site directly from here. This is a org-wide team, so this means that every new user added in the Active Directory is automatically a member of this team. So what I have done basically here in the Pages library, I created a workflow process. You can do this by clicking on Configure Page Approval Workflow, and this will create ready-to-go Power Automate solution to approve news and SharePoint pages on this SharePoint site. And this is exactly the Power Automate solution that I created for this page library of this SharePoint site. Out of the box here, you have in this step the approval step coming from Power Automate. What I've done here, I replaced this step with this action: post an adaptive card to a Teams user and wait for a response. So here I designed my adaptive card in the body. So if I copy now this adaptive card, and if I jump on this site, I recommend you to go on this site because this helps you to create your adaptive card. Now, if I paste in my adaptive card, this is immediately rendered here, and I can have a look how it looks like. I have this title approval for you, then I created this label. So here we have a dynamic parameter. Then we have a date created, details. I created this because I want to provide to the approver the ability to jump in the SharePoint page or in the news, directly clicking on the link. In this way, the approver can have a look on the content of the news and then decide if approve or reject the publishing of this news on the SharePoint site. So that's it for the adaptive card. You can work with this UI to add more content. You can add text block, images, video, and so on. Action set if you want to have buttons. Then when you have done to design the adaptive card, you can copy this JSON and you can paste this JSON here in this action, for example, in the message text field. And that's it. So we are ready to test now this workflow. Let me open now another browser instance. I am connected now with a different user. Ligu in my case, and I am now on this SharePoint site behind the team org wide and opening now pages. I want to create a new, let me go on the home because I have this plus button, which is more intuitive. New post, I can create a new post here. Let me click on create post, demo team fest. Then I can type something here, test with adaptive card. Let me select now an image. I will select this one, open. And now I have this button here. I cannot publish this page, this news immediately because there is a workflow behind. So I can click on submit for approval. This will open this panel. And then I will have here a button to submit this this news. Please approve this news. Submit, and now this will send an email, and I get already a notification here in the chat coming from the Flow application. It's very important that you have this application available in Teams. You have to install this application to get approval workflow directly in Microsoft Teams. So now this application notify me that there is this new approval to do, and this is the adaptive card. So this is the JSON file that I created. I can type in something, looks great, and then I can click on approve. So now if I go on this team, I created here a new tab which collects every news on the SharePoint site, and now this application is published. So if I go again on this view, and if I refresh this page from Ligu perspective, we can see that the news is published now. So this is another great use case of adaptive card in Microsoft Teams. So unfortunately, I think we ran out of time. So there was another application that I created here. This is available. It's available here. This is a personal app. This is a SharePoint Framework solution. So you can create your SharePoint Framework solution with React, for example, as a framework, and then you can have several tabs. I created in this solution 3 web parts, and we have basically 3 different pages. So I have one web part called Teams, then I have another web part called SharePoint, and finally I have a third web part called OneDrive. And these are 3 web parts rendered as 3 tabs in this personal app. This is another great way how you can extend Team, provide an application useful for the entire organization, useful for every user, and provide several tabs. So this is a single page application for every tab. So let me quickly wrap up this session now. So thank you for joining my session, and here I have seen some relevant resources that helps you to build and extend Teams, Microsoft Teams. Again, here, if you want to stay connected with me, there are several URL helpful to do it.